Hello all, we the Rotaract Club of Jain College welcome you all to the 9th episode of the RCJC show. In this initiative, we will be calling esteemed guests every month to come and have an interesting talk with us and share their thoughts. I, Rotaractor Krishab Jain, along with Rotaractor Alisha Abdul Hussain, partners in service teams, are going to be your host for the 9th episode of the RCJC show.
So without any further ado, introducing to you our guest for the 9th episode. She is a counseling psychologist, internationally licensed, Heal Your Life workshop leader, internationally certified success coach, and founder of Refind You. She regularly contributes to newspapers, articles in Midday, Free Press Journal, and also Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, and Ahmedabad Mirror. She has been interviewed on radio and has won an award for REBT. She is also a singer and fitness enthusiast. Dr. Sushma ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm good. How are you?
We are great, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So, in this show, there will be 2 rounds. That is, the question and answer round and this or that round. So, let's begin, shall we?
Sure.
So your first question is, what are your areas of expertise and specialization?
All right. So to begin with, I'm a counseling psychologist. I am not a doctor, right? So in our area, only someone who's done a PhD would be a doctor. Otherwise, the person is a psychiatrist who prescribes medicine, right? So that's the first thing. So my area is that of counseling. And in the space of counseling and therapy, I work with people to help them overcome their anxiety, depression, anger, right? Another area of expertise would be relationships, whether it is marriage or any kind of family relationship, friendships, conflicts. I work with a lot of working professionals, so I help them achieve their goals with respect to challenges that they may be facing at work. And that's where the coaching area also comes in. So in a nutshell, that's the kind of work that I do one-on-one. And apart from that, I do a lot of trainings with corporates and I do a lot of workshops with individuals and groups as well.
That's pretty great, ma'am.
Thank you.
What made you decide to become a therapist and how long have you been practicing?
Okay, so my decision goes way back to 2000, where we had to decide what field we take, and I wanted to do arts because I wanted to do psychology, but I was discouraged. There were a few family members who said, if you do arts, you'll be a housewife, and there was no Google at the time, right? So I said, no, I want to work. So I actually ended up taking up science, and then I did BMM because I was clear I wouldn't want to take the usual route of engineering or medicine or anything. So I ended up not studying much in my 12th, and BMM was new at the time, and I wanted to do something to do with people, right? And then I completed my BMM and then I started my work. So I've got a good 7 years of work experience in content writing and marketing and digital marketing and product management and all of that. I switched a lot of jobs in that, I think around 8 to 10 jobs in the 7 years. And every job that I was in, I was building teams. People would come and talk to me. They would feel good after talking to me. They'd be like, you should be in HR. We prefer talking to you rather than speaking to the HR and all of that. And so the turning point was when I worked with this company called Astrology India Private Limited as the product manager, and our customer service person went absconding, didn't come back. And because I was the product manager, I was pretty much managing everything. So I had to answer calls of customers who were distressed. And people who go to astrologers are also people who are going through a lot of turmoil, right? And a lot of people asked whether I was a counselor because they said, we really liked talking to you and things. So when I look back, I said, this pattern seems to be repeating itself, where I am in a product-centric or a marketing-centric role, but I am doing psychology related work. So that was when I decided to try and see whether what I think counseling is actually what counseling is, because I didn't have exposure to counseling at the time. So that's how I started doing a lot of mini certifications. I think the first one that I did was from SMBT. Then I did one from Heart to Heart Counseling Center. And that's how my journey began. And as they say, you know, when you're destined to do it, things work out for you. So after my first certification itself, I got to work with a lady who asked me to handle clients on my own, because she said, I think you can do it and you can manage it and so on. And so that's how, so I've been practicing since 2010 end. So that's 11 years, 12 years.
Wow.
What license and certifications are required for professional organizations and counseling?
Right. So, see, the thing is that usually if you do your graduation in arts, then after that, like after BA majoring in psychology, you could go for masters in either counseling or clinical psychology as your preference is. And then you keep upgrading, then sky is the limit, right? There are a lot of specializations, certifications, and I'm still like, I just finished another training last week. So I still keep upgrading myself. So that's the conventional route. However, I didn't take that route, because after BMM, you know, I was like, okay, now that I want to do psychology, when I went back to Mumbai University, they said that you will have to do 3 years of BA, then 2 years of MA, and then another course in counseling. And it kind of didn't make sense to me, because I had that graduation and plus then 7 years of work experience, and I didn't even know whether it is you know, in sync with what I want to do. So I said I possibly can't put in another 6 to 7 years just doing full time. So what I did was I did all these certifications. Then I did my postgraduate diploma in psychological counseling from IPMS Gurgaon. Then I did my master's in counseling psychology from IPU. So at the time, even though it is supposed to be a distance learning course, every Saturday, Sunday we would be there, because there were a lot of practicals and lot of theory and studies to do. So that was the route that I took. So, and as far as a professional license is concerned, in India, the RCI provides a license to clinical psychologists. I don't think it's mandatory, because not everyone applies for it. However, there isn't a governing body for counseling psychology or any like industrial psychology or social psychology. I hope that answers your question.
Yes. What do you consider to be the most important traits for a therapist to have?
Can I ask you, what do you think?
Maybe she should be a good listener.
I was going to say that only.
Yes. So if you notice, what I did was I asked you a question.
Yes.
So listening, a good listener also asks good questions. So those are two parts of the same coin, you know. Because a lot of times people think counseling is about giving advice. So people will go sit in front of the counselor and say, you tell me what I should do, right? And people, you know, if people think, okay, the counselor is going to tell me, make a list and say, okay, this, okay, this, okay, this, okay, this. That's not what happens. That's what friends do. That's what parents do, right? But the counselor would ask you, what do you want? What do you want to achieve out of this situation, right?
Yes.
So asking the right questions is really, really important, whether you decide to be a counselor or a therapist or a coach, right? Listening is extremely important, and listening not just to what is being said, but how it is being said as well. Because that's how you will be able to gauge through the non-verbal communication what the person is really feeling, right? So these two, I think, are extremely important. And I think the most important attitude is that of wanting to be there so that the other person finds their answers, right? Because if I think that I need to fix the other person, then I am perhaps not in the right space.
That was a really helpful answer.
Thank you.
What do you do outside of work that help you maintain a well-balanced and healthy life?
I do a lot of things. I So I am into music, so I sing. I am a lot into running and exercises and all of that. So that keeps me engaged as well. Apart from that, so the good part about my profession and especially because I am my own boss, I have the flexibility to plan my work time, and therefore I make sure that I do have time for the Netflix and the Amazon Prime stuff that I want to watch. Have time to mingle with friends, take trips as and when I get the opportunity. Read a little bit, not too much of a reader, but yes, read as well. So yeah, all of that. I try and make time for that so that it's as balanced as it can be.
That's really great. How can one maintain mental peace in times of adversity?
So when you say adversity, there are two parts to it, right? One could be an adversity like the pandemic, where everyone is in a similar situation. The scale of the adversity is really, really huge, right? Where everyone's going through some or the other consequences. Small house, too many people inside the house, frustration, right? Online, not getting a chance to go out, frustration. What's going to happen next? How are things going to go up? Therefore, anxiety. So one is adversity of that kind, where a lot of people could be sailing in the same boat, right? At that time, I think it helps to take stock of not overexposure. Firstly, not overexposing yourself to the news and the various things that is like adding to the adversity. And secondly, figuring out what is the worst that can happen and how you can work towards salvaging the situation, right? And the other part that is important, as important actually, is when you think that whatever is happening is an adversity for you, right? For example, if there is a breakup, right? Or if there is a really massive fight that you have with your best friend. Now, there could be someone else who say, oh, just snap out of it, it's not such a big deal. But your heart is broken, right? It's an adversity for you. So, firstly, it's really important to acknowledge that there is something which is an adversity, which may not be an adversity for someone else, right? And then after that, recognizing what is the emotion that you are feeling and trying to address the emotion, right? Because always an emotion is caused by thoughts. So when you recognize, but it's easier to recognize emotions because emotions come with a lot of physiological aspects, symptoms, whatever you'd like to call it, right? So when you're anxious, there could be heart beating really fast, or I think anxiety has the maximum things, sweaty palms, shivering, and all of those things. So when you recognize the emotion and then you look at what you are thinking and try and change the thoughts so that you feel a different emotion, which helps you, right? Now, you cannot feel happy in an adversity. Let me guarantee you that you cannot feel happy when you are feeling upset, right? But what you can do is change the emotion to something which does not make you feel so distressed and heartbroken, right? Which at least helps you cope with the situation, whatever that emotion is for you, right? So that's, I think, the advice on how to deal with adversity.
Thank you, ma'am. This advice will help many watching this.
Thank you.
What revolution you plan to bring in this field?
So I think the thing about mental health really is that people don't recognize still what mental health is. So there is one part of society that anything happens, they're like, oh, mental health, mental health, mental health. There is another part which says, oh, these people are just making a big deal out of mental health. And then there is a third part which says mental matlab crazy. So there is still that section still prevalent, right? So in terms of revolution, I think it would be wonderful to see people recognize and being empathetic towards one another, where you recognize that each one has their journey. So it's really important to live and let live. And that quote or that saying is just so underrated, right? Because a lot of people say my life motto is live and let live, and then they are intruding into other people's spaces and giving advice on this is how you need to live your life, this is what you need to do, this is when you need to get married, this is what you need to study, and so on. So if everyone could empathize, wish for the best for everyone, and really believe in living and letting live, I think that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, true. Assertive or passive approach, which is better for present circumstances and why?
When you say present circumstances, what do you mean?
Like, I think regarding the COVID situation or
Right.
one approach.
The healing
Right.
phase after COVID.
Right. So the thing is that, when there is a spectrum, being passive is one end and being aggressive is the other end. Right? And being assertive is right at the center. So it always helps to be assertive in whatever situation you are. Even if you are accepting the situation graciously, if you disagree with what you are going through or the external circumstances, talking about it is going to help. Because if you're going to be submissive or passive, then what is going to happen is you're going to suppress how you feel. And that's just a matter of time. You will suppress. You will reach a point where you will boil and you will go to the other extreme of aggression. So the thing about being passive is there is always the other end, which is very easy to slip to, right? Therefore, it helps to practice being assertive.
Agreed.
So, ma'am, how do you maintain a good bond with your patients?
By making sure that they are independent, by making sure that they make their choices, and by communicating with them that while I am here, that they can reach out for support. It is really important for them to figure it out by themselves, and I think that that's what really makes our bond special, and I think different from what they would have with their family or friends or well-wishers.
Okay, ma'am.
What would be your advice for coming generations for a better mental health?
Yeah, am I allowed to say, sound like a parent and say, Instagram come karo yaar? But no. Jokes apart, I think what my advice would be is to know your threshold of moderation, right? There is a lot already said about how people get so hurt when their posts don't get necessary likes, or when they see other people are having fun and then there are comparisons coming up and so on and so forth. And the reason why I'm saying social media is because thanks to the COVID, like everybody is now connected with one another only through social media, and thank God for that, right? Otherwise life would have been really way more difficult, right? But I think the advice is to recognize what your moderation is and work accordingly, rather than anyone who says these many hours of this, or this is what you need to do, or this is what you don't need to do. So when you spend time with yourself, knowing yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, you're just going to be in a much better space.
Okay, ma'am, we'll make sure we follow that one.
Thank you.
So with that, round one comes to an end. Let us begin with the second round, which is this or that round.
Okay.
So your first question, walking or jogging?
Jogging.
Exercise or yoga?
Exercise.
Mental health or physical health?
Both.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird. 5 a.m.
Wow. City or nature?
Sorry?
City or nature?
Nature.
Stay in or stay out?
Stay in.
Organized or messy?
Both.
Reading or
Can
watching?
I answer that differently? Organized thoughts, messy things.
Yeah. Both.
You can.
Reading or watching?
Watching.
Tea or coffee?
Tea. What happened?
Rishabh, next question.
Series or movies?
Both.
Both. Any favorite series or movie?
I don't have any I can't think of anything right now. The series that's coming to my mind is actually Lucifer, because I was listening to the song, this one, Bridge Over Troubled Waters, like a bridge over troubled waters, which I got introduced to because of that series, and I love that song. So yeah, right now top of mind is Lucifer.
Nice. So with this, the second round comes to an end. We would like to have your feedback on this initiative of ours.
You want me to tell you now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I really like it, to be honest. And this or that was a little scary. I was wondering what to do, but it was fun. And jokes apart, I just think it's a really, really nice initiative, because I did go through some of the YouTube videos of the past that you shared, and to bring this kind of information out to your watchers, I think it's a very nice initiative, and I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you so much, Mohan.
It was really great having you. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Hope you have a great weekend ahead.
Thank you so much, you too.
Thank you for watching the video. Like, share, comment and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you. Stay tuned for the 10th episode.